everybody. What a great time to be in Vegas. What a great time to be in college football. What an awesome time to be in the Big Ten Conference, and especially at the University of Illinois. Just very exciting time. Good to see a lot of familiar faces. One of the things is you go into your 17th year as a head coach, you developed a lot of relationships in every avenue of life, obviously with administrators, people within your school system, but a lot of you as well as media. I told my players I bring them in as we prep for these media days, and every year I tell them the story that in 1992 I was a representative at the University of Iowa. I was myself and another captain, a guy by the name of Mike Devlin, who's the offensive line coach for the Chargers, been in the NFL for a long time. We drove over to the media days. I'm sure a lot of you used to remember. I used to be in Chicago, and literally the first guy that I met in the hotel lobby was Kirk Herbstreit. He was a starting quarterback at Ohio State. And I think about just that weekend and the people that I met, and the people now that have been a part of my life since that weekend to where we are today. I brought three great players with us: Luke Altmaier, our quarterback, J.C. Davis, our left tackle, and Xavier Scott, a corner. Those three guys all have unique journeys to get to where they are today. But I wanted to share with them, hey, the opportunity you're going to get here today at Big Ten Media Day is something you've earned. It's very rare, very special. Only three players of every school get to do the same thing. They don't bring just guys on the team. They bring their best players that represent the University of Illinois in the best way. And super excited for you to get to know them. Kind of a unique story, kind of the way college football is today. You just asked a question about the conference-wide pay system. I think about 1992, my first question, I walked into the meeting room and Hayden Fry said, hey, don't worry, nobody ever asked the players any questions. Guess who got the first question? Me. And I think about that to this day because as a player, I actually was a walk-on that earned a scholarship, and think about that phone call when I called my parents to tell them I gained a scholarship, and they were crying on the other line, and I thought they were just happy, but I also realized, that scholarship made a big payment difference in that household that I was raised in, and to now have a system where starting in July, we actually paid our players through PayPal. Holy shit, the world has changed, right? Like, it's just a different world. Absolutely awesome. So awesome to see our players. We were actually able to bring out in the back, I have my wife back there, but also was bring friends of the family with our football program, a few donors that have been huge the last several years since I've come to Illinois, way before that with different buildings around campus and fundraising. But last night was pretty awesome. We went to Piero's little Italian joint here, and we were able to have a couple of our parents of our players join us. And to hear from those parents to speak to what their son has accomplished since he came to Illinois really has nothing to do with the football side, just who they've become as young men. That's something that I think is just makes what college football is today so awesome. So super excited about this. Our football team is one that has gained a lot of headlines. Just by the way, we finished a year ago with 10 wins. Have a number of players, whether it's 16, 17, 18, however you want to cut it, of our 22 starters coming back. Have a kicker that is very accomplished, David Alano. We were able to acquire a punter from Purdue, who I think is one of the best players in the country at his position. Have acquired some other players through the transfer portal. Continue to be one of the leading schools in the country. We signed 21 high school players, which is a really high number compared to a lot of other people. Have 20 committed to this next class already. So we still are the foundation of a high school development college football program, but we do acquire players. Two of our three this year that are here with us today, Luke and JC, were both transfers. So to combine that with what we've recruited and to be where we are today, super excited for that number. In addition to that, I think everybody always focuses on the players, and as a head coach, we get a lot of attention, but the true work gets done by our coaches, our 10 assistant coaches, and our support staff, my strength and conditioning staff, my medical staff, our training staff, our nutritional staff. We got Brett Moore here with media, Pat Pearson, the creative department heads in our building. Just the amount of volume of work that goes into building a football program, and more than anything, Josh Whitman, our athletic director here, I walk a daily walk with him on this journey at Illinois football. He not only obviously played at Illinois, played very, very well, played 4 years, two-time academic All-American, which is absolutely unbelievable. Played in the NFL for a number of years, went out and practiced law, came back, and is now, in my opinion, the best athletic director in college football, in college athletics. So just so many things to be excited about. Vegas also holds a special place in my heart. My wife and I met here in 2008 at the Wynn Casino. We don't need any more story to that than that, except for it happened. We went back yesterday and reenacted the moment for a little bit, and was able to have that. But also, I would say this: I grew up like I said, coming to the media day in Chicago, we transitioned to Indianapolis, and to come to Vegas. When I sat down with our players to go through the events, they were so excited to be here in Vegas, and I think it's just another great indicator of college football and how much it's evolved. I heard a question earlier from a gentleman here in the front row about his view on what he thinks the playoffs should be. Obviously, Tony answered the question. The SEC answered the question. The ACC answered the question. The Big 12 answered the question. The great thing is the question is very relevant, and it's awesome because the college football has never been where it's at. As a head coach, I'm in charge of our football program and what we do, and all I do is sit back every day and try not to go back. I only want to go forward. Through 17 years, I've learned to don't worry about things you can't control. Leave it to those who can, and usually the best results will happen. We can always argue about the way it can happen, but it couldn't be more exciting. 12-team format. I hope it does go to 16. I'm not going to go Eli Drinkwitz 30 or whatever he came up with, but I think a bigger number is a better number to have a play-in game. I appreciate your point that you thought the 4 teams should just get in and go, but if there are 7, 8, 9, 10 teams alive in November that can have a chance to be in the playoffs, that's going to do a world of good for our college football team. So a lot of different things working. I'm super excited and couldn't be more thankful for the opportunity, Tony Petitti, to get up here. I wanted to make sure I came in and hear I talk. I would say this, I've been very fortunate. Obviously, Jim Delaney was the commissioner when I took over. I went down, and Mike Slive was the commissioner in the SEC, transitioned to Greg. I was actually the head coach at Arkansas, and I reached out to Greg and other people involved and said, hey, what can we do as coaches in the SEC to make sure Greg gets a job? Because I'd been around him for a couple years and thought he was extremely bright, intelligent, and loved the SEC, and that's exactly what he's done. And now to join the league with Tony, and I would tell you this, and every year that I've been a head coach, he keeps us more informed as coaches of any other commissioner I've ever been involved with. We have personal contact with him on a monthly, sometimes twice a month basis, has meetings with us several times throughout the course of the year where it's not him and his staff, it's him running the meeting with us individually, and it's just the connection with him. I think a lot of these other conferences, one of the things that happens is the coaches don't find out something until it's brought to their attention at an event, and then they have a quick reaction. They haven't thought it through. So I give Tony and his staff just an unbelievable credit for keeping us in the loop and making it all go forward. So with that, I got a couple minutes. Open up for some easy questions.
We got first row right here.
Good morning, Coach. AP Stedham, AP as we see it. Coach, what did you like about your team last year, and specifically your quarterback, and what would you like to add to that, things that you liked about your team?
I think in life we're all, we love the great memories. I love the bowl game. I love to beat South Carolina, a team that everybody thought should have been in the playoffs, and I did too. I thought they should have been in there, and then when we beat them, I think it opened up that question even further for everybody else. So those highs, we beat Michigan at home at a 100-year anniversary game that Josh and his crew, we really, truly recreated a moment 100 years later. It was one day off from the opening of Memorial Stadium when Michigan played Illinois in Memorial Stadium for the first game in that building, and to have the history of that event relived and to have 2 ranked teams battle out. We won that one. So those are easy ones. But I would tell you as a head coach, I've learned we're defined more by moments of adversity than we are by moments of success. We absolutely went to Oregon and performed as poorly as we could in the first half, and I just went into halftime and said, listen, we're not going to repeat what just happened, right? And we didn't win the game, but we did play significantly better in the second half. That next week, I think we had a little bit of carryover to the Minnesota game and lost a heartbreaker at the end, and I knew I had a good football team before I went to Oregon. I knew I had a great football team when we got beat by Minnesota, and we just put the dots together to connect and win those last 3 games that were important to get us to a 9-win season, to get us a chance to win 10. So I love the resilience of our football team. These guys are better when they've been punched in the face, and that doesn't mean I need to punch them, but you know what I mean. They respond very, very well. In this world I think that we're in, a lot of kids can have distractions that take them away from the main thing. And our guys would tell you, everybody's worried about Illinois with the expectations. Expectations are earned. They're never given. Some people give expectations, that's great, but for us at Illinois, we got to earn them. We got to have a chip on our left shoulder and our right shoulder. The way we've earned these expectations will be the way we earn success this year. We'll do it on a daily basis with our teammates and our coaches. And I have a coaching staff that retains my offensive, defensive, and special teams coordinator for the last 3 years. I have the starting quarterback for the last 3 years. Those are the things that get me excited.
Coach on your far left.
Doug Lesmerises, Kings of the North. Bret, at times On social media, you have stood up for your program, stood up for the Big Ten, pushed back against some SEC narratives at times. The Big Ten has to win on the football field. Do you feel the Big Ten also needs to fight that perception battle at times, and why are you maybe the right guy to do it?
I'm not the right guy to do it. I may do it. My wife will tell you she gives me a couple slow your roll deals once in a while when I'll get going. But I would tell you this. I learned early in life, right? If you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. So sometimes that's a little bit driven on what I believe in. But I would tell you, I stand here as a head coach that has been very fortunate. I was an assistant coach. I played and coached under Hayden Fry. I worked for Kirk Ferentz. I worked for Bill Snyder. I worked for Barry Alvarez. I worked for Bill Belichick. But those first four guys in college football, those guys are all first ballot Hall of Famers, right? And I today represent a lot of what they taught me. But also, I remember being at my first Big Ten spring meeting, and Lloyd Carr and Jim Tressel pulled me aside, and I was 35, 36 years old, and they basically said, hey, from what Barry has told us, you're going to be a really good football coach. You're at an age right now that as you move forward in your career, you're going to have to be a voice for this game when we need it the most. And I think about that all the time. Like, I was just sitting there, I'm like, oh, Lloyd's a pretty good dude. Jim Tressel, got the sweater vest and all, but he's a pretty cool dude, right? Like, and I was just like, I didn't realize the impact of what those guys put in me as a young coach. I sat in there and listened to Joe Paterno and Delaney get in fights. Like, I was like, this is awesome, right? Because they're like going back and forth on debates. And the part that's been so awesome for me in my career is like, what's right is right. What your opinion is great to express on your own, but like you have to listen to others, right? And you said right away, I don't go after the SEC. Like, I like, making points or retweets, but I want to make college football great. I want all of us to get to a place that everybody can have success. When this gentleman mentioned earlier about capping it at 4 and why should those 4 teams have to play another game, I'd say, why the hell would you not want to play another game, right? Like keep everybody going in the right direction. College football is at a world where the depth that you can acquire and attain, however you want to do it. Some people believe in if you pay somebody a lot of money, they're going to play really well. I don't believe that's the case. I think kids play well when they've been coached, developed, and treated the right way. They'll make their money when they make their money. So it's just, I know that I get labeled at that a little bit, but I would tell you there's several coaches in the SEC that I consider very great friends. Mark Stoops and I, we used to share a hotel together in spring recruiting when we both made $50,000. We split a Motel 6 for $32 a night so that we could keep our per diem money, right? And when he got his big contract, I know I got a little bit of one now too, but I said, man, come a long way since Motel 6, right? So some of those guys are my best friends and respect the hell out of who they are and what they are.
Coach Bielema, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. ILL.